Hi. Some people ask me what version of the Bible is the best version of the Bible to use. And then I ask them, well, what's your preference? Some people have said King James Version, others have said English Standard Version, some have said American Bible, I forget. So there's all kinds of translations, and you can go on a number of websites to test out the different translations of the Bible. Biblos.com or Bible Gateway. I use both of those. And you can see the way different Bible versions read, but which one is the right one? Which one is the one that you should use, and which ones are complete lies? This is the version that I use, New King James Version. It's very standard. Most people will understand it, so that's why I use it. A number of people like the King James Version, and they say that's the only real version of the Bible because it's the first one. If you like the King James Version, that's great. But the biggest concern that I have is that I don't speak Old English, and neither do the people that I talk to, most of the time. I mean, there's the rare occasion. The devil's biggest worry is that people will understand the Word of God. And unfortunately, I think that he's been successful in getting a number of people in the church to feel that there is only one way, the old way of reading the Bible. But during the Protestant Reformation, what they did was they took the Bible, which was only in Latin available at the time, which wasn't even the original language, and they said this is the only way to read the Bible. But the Protestants, the Reformers, they said, no, we need the Bible in our language, the common language of the day. The Lingua franca, something like that. Anyway, they said, we want the Bible in our language, the language of the people. So they translated the Bible, which was in Latin at the time, into languages like German and French, and then English, King James Version. The common people could then read the Bible for themselves. And when they read the Bible for themselves, they realized that, the way we're doing things in the church is not exactly, isn't the way that God spelled them out in the Bible. And so that's when the Protestant Reformation got its momentum from, is people no longer had to go through the qualified professionals in order to read the Bible for themselves. So I'm a big advocate for making sure that you pick a version that is a good version that you understand. There is a concern, though, that there are so many different versions that are all easy to understand, but they say different things sometimes. Which one is the right version? Which is the one that's closest to the Greek and closest to the Hebrew? I just finished taking Greek and Hebrew in my seminary courses here, and I was able to find some really neat things that really don't come through in English. So which Bibles will highlight those things so that way we can understand them better? One neat thing that I learned was that when Jesus is walking on the water towards the boat and the disciples see him, they think that he's a ghost, and so they start freaking out and, it's a ghost. But then Jesus says, don't be afraid, it's me. That's what it says in the English. But in the original Greek, Jesus says, don't be afraid, I am. It's this beautiful statement, reminiscent of the Old Testament I am statements of God. So that just doesn't come through in the English very well. There's so many other stories that it's like, whoa, that's why, when you understand the Greek and Hebrew. But if you can't, you can still go to biblos.com and you can find the original text and link. I'm tangenting, sorry. I do that, I'm a pastor. There are two types of Bibles that you'll find out there. You'll find translations, and then you'll find paraphrases. I will encourage you, unless it's just purely for devotional, like just because you want to just read, stay away from paraphrases for Bible study. For personal reading, fantastic. You'll understand things about what's going on. You'll see insight anyway into some of the stories that you wouldn't see otherwise. Like if I had Brandon's paraphrased Bible, it would be that I read the Bible and then I rewrite it in the way that I think it the story went. So I rewrite the story in my own words. It's already been processed from the Bible through my head and out into another form, which is kind of like a sermon. So it's great to read and stuff like that, but not for Bible study, not to find out what the God is actually saying. Which translation is most accurate? Yeah, I messed up here. First, here are some things to look at. You want to find out if the version that you're looking into getting is a word-for-word translation. There are some Bibles, like New International Version, it reads very well, but it is not a word-for-word. It's a thought-by-thought translation. So they take a thought, and then the scholars thought about it, and then they put it in the way that they thought it would be. But a word-for-word translation would as closely as possible, because English is not like Hebrew. Not every word in Hebrew has a direct correlated word in English. So you can't just say, oh, tov means good, although you can do that in Hebrew. Anyway, like hesed. In Hebrew, for instance, there's a word hesed, and it actually has no English word for it. So when it's translated as goodness or mercy or something like that. But it's just one word in Hebrew, but it takes lots of English words that don't even add up to the original Hebrew word. You want a word-for-word translation as if at all possible, because that means it didn't go through the minds of somebody else and the way they interpret it in order to get to you. And the other one is that you want a committee-translated Bible. English Standard Version is a committee-translated Bible. And it's also word for word. That's the one that I really like. But it still also has little problems here and there, but you're wanting a committee that's unbiased, not from one particular denomination, because then, you know, they'll read their theology into it. So you want a committee that has all the different, lots of people, lots of scholars that are experts in their field that don't have a particular bias. Everyone has presuppositions, but bias is saying, oh, you know, this is what it really means. Oh, this is what it means. If it's just word for word, then you decide what it means by comparing it with the context and everything else like that. So, this video, it's just like going all over the place. I hope it's helpful. There are lots of different versions of the Bible. You can get them in all variety. But the bottom line is, most of the versions, the vast majority of the versions that are out there, they're good enough. Read the Bible, pray every day, and you'll grow in Jesus. You get to know Him. He's revealed Himself to you through His Word. If you read something in here and it doesn't make sense, you think, I wonder if that's what it is in the original, you can actually look it up, because we have technology today, and we have the internet. We are so blessed. We are rich, and yet we feel we're in need of nothing. I hope this has been helpful for you. If it's not clear, please put it in the comments below, or email me, message me, and maybe I can make another video. I try. One does what one can. Bye.